the little...
It's up to you. You get better down than you do.
Hello? It doesn't make a difference, right? Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. So, bias. The intention of today's speech is almost a mini workshop. And that is to raise our awareness and also our understanding and take away some strategies for counteracting implicit bias. What is bias? First, we need that foundational knowledge. Bias is a tendency or an inclination in our outlook that results in a judgment. And that judgment can be either in favor of something or against it. And that is done without a question. There is no room for assessing others' points of view or other ways of doing things or processing information. It's just the way it is, and that's it. There are two types of biases. One of them is explicit, and the other one is implicit. Explicit bias is the conscious decision that you make to assign value to a person, a thing, or a group of people. And it is done completely on your conscious level. You are aware, fully aware of what you're doing. Implicit bias, on the other hand, is an automatic response. In this response, a little bit. I'm actually going to take this off because it's impeding me from being myself. Okay. So implicit bias, it's an automatic response, and it is a mental association of stereotypes and attitudes that we make that also assign value to people, things, or groups of people. And it is without any sort of awareness, intent, real intent, or control. It is done on our subconscious or unconscious level. Why is this important? I'll talk a little bit more about it. But how does this occur? I think it's important for us to understand at least some parts of how our brain functions in relation to this. And our brain functions, creating a shortcut to interact with the world. Because we receive millions of information at once, we cannot process everything at once. And sometimes we have to make a decision in a matter of seconds. Therefore, the brain has created a system for that. And it uses a frame through which it helps us navigate the world. And that frame seeks the simplest path to coming to an understanding or having a conclusion about something so that we can make a decision. The simplest path. And there are three themes for doing so. One of them is making categories or categorization. A second one is associations. And a third one is filling the blanks. Now, we, or the brain, categorize information and knowledge to make associations of what we know, of how we view the world, how we've been taught to view the world, or the messages that we perceive through the media, through our families, through our friends, whatever it is, through our political climate, for example. So everything has an impact on how we categorize and how we start to believe certain stereotypes, certain attitudes, certain thoughts. Second, the associations are made around those stereotypes, around those attitudes that are put forth in society. And our brain conserves energy for those unknown territories, unknown concepts, unknown things that we haven't encountered or that we haven't been prompted to in the world. So that's where the brain actually has to take a lot of time to think through. But if there are messages that we save in our brain and something comes up, we will automatically categorize and make an association. And then it fills in the blanks when we receive partial information. I don't know if you remember those tricks or games that they mix the order of the words, of the letters in a word, and then you automatically, your brain starts to think about it and assesses and then creates a word. So that's basically what I'm talking about. Now, so what? Why is this important? This is important because we make, as I said, either positive or negative associations that influence our behaviors, our attitudes, and the way we are in the world. And those can be either positive, which show up as favoritism or a way to have a preference over something or someone, or it could be negative, which show up as prejudice. There are many examples. There is extensive research on this, so I would just talk about one. The 5 big orchestras, the way they used to have auditions for hiring new musicians was giving them disparate outcomes. They only had 12% females in their workforce, in their staff. And they realized this, they wanted to be proactive, and they implemented a new system. The new system was blind auditions. So they put a cover, just a division to not be able to see. And they also put a rubber mat so that you didn't hear the clicks and the taps of the heels. And it had tremendous results because it ended up being that just alone, that system created new outcomes. So now we had a range of female staff being between 25 to 46%. And this is back in 1970s. There's a lot of information also about how it shows up in our healthcare and how it creates different health outcomes according to either gender, race, ethnicity, culture, socioeconomic status, etc. So how can I fight it if I don't want to be a part of creating disparate outcomes in society? And if I want to be a proactive member of this society and improve the way we operate? There are 6 ways to counter this. And you have a small sheet of paper. I didn't do it in the specific order that I will talk about, and that was intentional because I created this little acronym, and that means, that is get deeper, and that is what I want you to do. These 6 ways encompass getting deeper in the way you view the world and the way you act upon your biases. So number 1 is recognize and accept you have biases. And if you want, you can fill in the blanks there or not. Number 2 is develop the capacity to use a flashlight on yourself. Be sort of like a best friend to yourself and check yourself and say, hey, am I doing this? Am I thinking it through? Number 3, practice constructive uncertainty. That means that if you're uncertain about something, ask. Dig deeper, research, or find the correct information before you come to a conclusion that is not comprehensive. Number 4, explore awkwardness and discomfort. This is a very uncomfortable thing for everyone to do, and we all have implicit biases, and I'm in no way saying that we're going to eradicate them. We can't. This is the way we operate, but we could improve upon the way we operate. And it is uncomfortable to say, hey, you're not doing this the right way, or you can do it better. But it is about being honest and not putting blame or shame on yourself, because we all do it and it is unconsciously done. So I'm not putting blame or shame, right? Number 5, engage with people you consider others. Others are people that don't participate in your circles, whether that's church, culture, school, whatever it is. Just try to reach out to others. And number 6, get feedback. If you don't have information, then ask. Build the relationships with others, with people, and use that as your platform to get answers. All I ask you today to do is to get deeper.